Okay, Madam Court, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So we took a break at 3:40 so that y'all, I'm sorry, 2:40, thank you, so that y'all could go and talk with Detective Kelly. And then after that, let me know what everybody thought in terms of what we need to do. Mr. Samuel, have you had an opportunity to talk to Detective Kelly?
I have, and he answered a couple of questions that were very helpful. And he explained what police reports he thought were missing and described them. He doesn't have anything more to say about the VHS. We're probably going to steer clear of that. We still think that ought to be excluded, that you should tell the jury to disregard that testimony because it's missing evidence. But I'm prepared to go forward. The missing reports deal with the June discovery of evidence, and he explained to me what was in his report, so I'm not walking into any dangerous territory there. And there's an issue about bleach, which is concerning, but we talked about that, and I think we both understand now the bleach issue, which you'll hear when we testify.
On cross. Okay.
A little bit of hearsay on both sides with the bleach, but I think we're in agreement that that's what we're going to do.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fawcett, it sounds as if we've resolved this issue for purposes of having Detective Kelly come and retake the stand. It sounds as if the only general editorial I'm being requested or, ruling is to instruct the jury to disregard Detective Kelly's testimony about a VHS or some sort of video. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
I'm not objecting with that, Judge.
Okay. So what we'll do then is we'll have Detective Kelly return to the stand. I'll have the jury brought back out. When the jury returns, I will instruct them that they are to disregard any testimony from Detective Kelly regarding a surveillance video showing a dog. And then Mr. Samuel can resume his cross-examination.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm ready for the jury. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in a moment, Mr. Samuel is going to resume his examination of this witness. Before he does, I'm just going to instruct you that this detective's testimony regarding a surveillance showing a dog, that information, that I am instructing you to disregard that testimony. Did you understand? Any problem with complying with that instruction? Okay. Thank you all. Mr. Samuel, you may resume your examination.
Thank you. Detective Kelly, you mentioned on your direct examination something about bleach, and I want to clarify that as well. Am I correct that you don't have any independent knowledge that there was bleach in the bags? Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. In fact, what you've learned was that the bleach was put on the jawbone and on the skull at the crime lab or at the medical examiner's office, correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So there wasn't bleach in the bags. There was decomposition of
Fluid.
flesh and whatever, but there wasn't bleach that was put in the bag,
No.
correct?
Yes, there's an understanding between me and somebody else.
Speak up a little bit for these old ears.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, you indicated before that you were missing some police reports, right? Or at least one. And during the break, you and I had a quick conversation, right?
Yes, sir.
And the police report that's missing is the one dealing with the second time you all went out to the scene. The first time is in April, the second time is in June. Is that correct?
Well, I was provided more reports that I did not have or was not given to me at this time. And then the one I'm referring to now is 6/3 of 99.
Right, and that one you don't have, and nobody has, but you and I discussed it, so it's as good as if we had a police report,
Yes.
right? Okay. So in June, you go back out there, and you're in the same general vicinity or somewhere out there, is that right?
The wooded area,
Wooded area?
Yeah.
You're not on the road anymore.
no, sir.
And now we have black plastic bags, no bleach or anything, but black plastic bags that have different parts of the skeleton, frankly, right?
Of human remains, yes, sir.
Human remains, okay. And you gathered those up, and they all get sent to either the medical examiner or the crime lab, correct?
Well, no, I did not gather them. I do
You were
not
present.
touch. I was present when
Yes.
it was being done. The medical examiner's office was there. They took custody of them immediately.
Right, and they've taken me either to the Fulton Medical Examiner or eventually the crime lab, or someone we'll be hearing from later on in this trial.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you actually see where the black bags were found in the wooded area? Were you watching as they were collected, even though you don't put hands on them?
Yes.
Okay. And the people who were putting hands on are
Medical examiner.
they wearing gloves?
Yes.
I'm sorry. We have a problem.
Medical
Double
examiner.
problem, my ears and your soft voice.
Medical examiner and their investigator that was out there.
And they wear gloves, correct?
Yes. They
Okay.
wear gloving.
Right. And so on these bags, if there's DNA evidence on any of these bags, presumably it's not going to be crime lab people or detectives because you all are too careful about that, right?
They were. I was not touching anything.
Right. You don't touch them, and they're wearing gloves like you
Yeah.
see the crime lab people on TV always doing. Okay. Now, were these bags buried?
I don't remember. Some of them were buried very shallow.
Okay. So just kind of give us an overview. That you're in a wooded area, they're like buried under leaves, or did you have to use shovels to dig dirt out?
I don't recall.
Okay, fair enough. It's 25 years ago.
Yeah.
There were paths through the wooded area. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Were some of the bags just simply placed on a path?
I don't recall if they were placed simply on a path or not.
Okay, well, you wouldn't know. Placed is a verb that you wouldn't know, but were they located on the side of the path or right in the path?
I'm going to say on the side.
Okay. So anybody walking on a path would have seen the bag, presumably.
You would think, yes.
Okay. And it's now June of 1999.
Yes.
Okay. And that's the first time, as far as you know, that those bags were ever moved from the path or the side of the path.
Yes.
Was there any evidence that you remember, and I know you don't have the report, it's missing, but in your memory, do you remember seeing loose dirt as if other people, the cadaver dogs, were digging up the ground as opposed to the bags being on the
I
surface?
don't recall.
Very good. Okay. Those are my questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, redirect?
May I just have one?
Sure. Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Thank
You
you.
are excused as a witness. State may call its next witness.
We call Tina Miller.
Thank you, ma'am. If you'll come up to the witness stand, and once you get here, before you have a seat, if you'll turn and face the deputy and raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in court today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do. You may be seated, lower your hand. State this for your name for the court reporter, please.
Tina, T-I-N-A, Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R.
Where do you work, ma'am?
I currently work for the Gwinnett County Medical Examiner's Office
How long have you worked there for?
since 2018.
What did you do before that?
Prior to that, I worked for the Atlanta Police Department. I retired as a lieutenant in 2014.
Were you a certified law enforcement officer while you were working with the city of Atlanta?
That's correct, yes.
Could you kind of tell the jury about go quickly through your career as a law enforcement officer?
Okay. Right out of high school, I went into the United States Army where I was trained as a military police soldier. When I got out, my goal has always been to go into law enforcement. I got that basic training there in the military. When I got out of the Army, I applied to the Atlanta Police Department. I was hired in 1984, started my training with them, and retired in 2014. While at the Atlanta Police Department, I served in Zone 6 as a patrol officer. I was promoted to detective a couple years later. I was assigned to narcotics, where I spent 5 years working undercover and buying and working drugs in the city of Atlanta. I spent 5 years working fugitive after that. Then I went to the homicide unit, where initially I worked aggravated assaults, and then went on to do adult missing persons in the homicide unit.
And could you describe the duties of an adult missing persons detective, what you did?
Yes, any adult missing in the city, 17 and older, would come to my desk, and I would follow up on the case, contact the reporting person, and do legwork in an attempt to find the individual. Typically, what I would do is go out to neighborhoods. If they had a substance abuse problem, I would go out to the neighborhoods they were known to frequent and see if I could locate them, get word on the street that their family was missing them, and I had a pretty good success rate with getting them or finding them.
And were you called in to assist on a case of a skull found in April, the end of April of 1999?
Yes, I was.
Could you please tell the jury what the circumstances of that were?
I was working homicide and doing missing persons, and my lieutenant would have me go out on scenes where situations like that, if we had a missing person or we had somebody, we didn't know who they were. And on this particular day, the call came in that Uniform had responded to a call where there was a human skull in the roadway, and went out there with him and Detective Kelly. So I rode with the lieutenant, and we went out and secured the scene and took information and worked the scene.
And where was that located?
On Avon Avenue.
And was that in the city of Atlanta?
Yes, it was.
Fulton County, Georgia?
Yes, it was.
Did you, when you first got to, what do you recall when you first got to the scene?
Obviously, Uniform had responded, and they had blocked off the roadway with crime scene tape. And I remember seeing the skull sitting upright in the roadway with a white stick in front of it, or a painted white piece of wood. And there was a black trash bag, and also various items that had probably come out of the bag or off of the skull in the roadway.
And is it, I know you didn't do it, but is it important to document the crime scene using photographs?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 21 and 22. I'm sorry, may I approach?
Yes.
Are you familiar with those?
Yes.
What are they?
They are crime scene photographs of extremities in a black trash bag that were found by me later when we went back out to the scene to search for additional remains.
And are those true and accurate depictions of the scene?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask that 21 and 22 be admitted into evidence.
Mr. McDermott?
Objection.
Okay. 21 and 22 are admitted.
Now let's go back to the 29th of April. I'm going to show you what's been previously entered as State's Exhibit number 3.
Do you mean the 28th of April or 29th?
29th of April, 2000.
Is that the initial call?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now you can see on the, you can look on the screen. And that State's Exhibit 3 is that shows, that depicts the scene at Avon Avenue.
Yes, it does.
Could you kind of point out to the jury what significant things are on the street?
Am I pointing up here?
Yes, actually, that's probably a good idea. Your Honor, may the witness have permission to leave the stand to help?
Sure, just a reminder to speak up so that the court reporter and the rest of the courtroom can hear
Okay.
you. Thank you, ma'am.
Here we have the skull, which is now sitting upright with the black board in front of it. Here's the black trash bag, and these are items that either came out of the bag or came off the skull, because the skull, it was believed, had been struck out in the roadway.
Did you closely observe that skull?
Yes,
And did there appear to be damage to the bone structure?
yes.
And what damage was there?
I can't recall specifically, but I can't recall specifically. Because there were pieces.
Show you what's been marked as States 4. And what does that show?
That shows, again, a different angle of the scene where it's down toward, I believe it's down toward Hartford, looking up Avon Avenue.
And what is significant in that picture as far as this investigation?
Again, you could see the skull, you can see the back black trash bag, and other miscellaneous like parts that may have been skin or bone.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 5. What does that depict?
Closer photograph.
Show you State 6. Is that a different photograph of it?
Yes, this is more toward the railroad tracks, looking back to your right.
I'll show you what's been marked, or what's been entered, excuse me, in State's Exhibit number 11. And what is that a picture of?
That is the black trash bag.
There's a yellow card that has, for lack of a better term, the number 2 on it. What is
Correct.
that?
That is a marker that was, I believe it was put out by the medical examiner's office to indicate later that they could diagram what was there by the number and reference it later as to what was there.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 15. And that is?
That's the actual skull in the roadway.
And where was that? Where was that in location to? Are you familiar with the business next or very close named Action Glass?
Yes,
How far is that away from Action Glass?
not very far. It's, if you walk back on the other, behind, like going to the right here, you would go to the intersection, and the glass company is right across the street at that intersection.
And if you observed the skull, was there any decomposition or decomposition
Yes, it was.
about that skull? How would you categorize that?
Advanced decomposition.
As the skull sat there, were you able to make any identifications at all?
Absolutely not.
Could you tell anything about it other than it was a skull?
No, not at all. Not on that particular day, no.
How long were you out at the scene?
Probably a few hours.
Okay. And did you do anything? Did you do anything else at that scene on that day?
I assisted with anything that the homicide investigators needed to be done, and I also assisted Mary Beth Hoptel in photographing by just showing her, pointing out different items in the roadway that may be related to the skull.
Okay. But she actually took pictures,
Absolutely.
not you.
No, I did not.
What else did you do that day?
I believe that was it.
Okay. Were you out there on a different? Well, did you do any? What work did you do on that case starting that day?
Well, initially, the case was handled by a homicide investigator. And once the medical examiner's office collected the remains, because basically they handle remains or a decedent on the scene. And I was in communication with them and assisting the homicide detective in trying to find out who this individual was.
Was it important to find other parts of the individual?
Yes.
And had you been able to do that yet?
No, not at that time, not that day, no.
Okay. So what's the next significant day that occurs in your investigation?
The next time was probably, I think, June 3rd of 99. Initially, there was some question that particular head belonged to an individual that was not in the Atlanta area. The investigators were able to determine that head did not belong to the individual in Middle Georgia. They found all of their remains, and it was determined by dental that our skull did not go with that body. And so my supervisor suggested that I get a cadaver dog, and a cadaver dog is trained to sniff for human remains and go back out there, which we did.
Who all went out there with you that day?
The medical examiners had sent investigators out, and also the homicide unit was out there. And because the area we were going to check was railroad property, we had 2 railroad detectives as well assisting us.
And you remember what side of the street the skull was found on?
Correct.
Was that where you were searching?
We were searching, there's a wooded area which would be across from the skull, and we were searching the other side of that as well as that wooded area.
And were you able to find anything?
No.
How long were you out there searching?
Probably all morning.
And you were also using a cadaver dog?
Yes, we were.
And there was, how many people do you think there was approximately?
Maybe 8.
How long did you stay searching at that?
They stayed for several hours, and then another call came up, and when the other homicide call came up, they all left to go handle that call, and me, the dog handler, and the 2 railroad policemen stayed.
And what happened next?
We were standing there discussing, kind of what to do next or further options, and a gentleman that owned the garage on the corner came out, and he said, you might want to check the wooded area behind my shop. He said people use that as a cut through, and there's people back there doing drugs, and you might want to check that, and we did.
And what did you find?
The railroad policeman didn't go with us, but me and the dog handler entered the wooded area, and there was kind of a path, so we're kind of walking through the path, and I'm following the dog. And the dog kept going, and I noticed off to the side a black trash bag, and I picked up the trash bag, and it was rather heavy. I opened the trash bag, and an item of clothing fell out. And it looked kind of moldy and off-colored. Well, there was another bag inside that was also it was heavy. And so I pulled it open, and when I pulled it open, I saw flesh. And I pulled it open a little more, and I saw the beginnings of toes on a foot. And at that point, I realized we'd found additional human remains, and I believe that to be a female foot.
Okay, who all was out there at that point?
Me and the dog handler.
And then what did you do next?
At this point, the dog had gone ahead of me, and the dog went around to an area kind of behind where I was, and found the leg and thigh that was in that photograph.
Okay, and let me go ahead and have you take a look at States 21. And what does States 21 describe?
That is the thigh, lower leg bone that the dog hit on. Or
Was
lower bone.
that originally in a bag?
I believe so, but not when we found it,
Okay.
because there's a trash bag that was nearby.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 22. Could you describe it? Ed, what is that?
That is a black trash bag.
And was there anything inside of that?
Now, I can't tell from that photograph if that's the one that was next to the thigh and lower leg bone, or if that was another one.
How many trash bags did you find out at that scene?
I actually just dealt individually with the 2, but other bags were recovered. Once I found realized what we had, I immediately contacted my supervisor in homicide to let them know we had additional remains and they needed to return to where I was, my location.
Now let me ask you this: How far were those bags from where the skull was initially discovered?
Not very far. The street ran in front of the little junkyard car repair place. This was directly behind it, so not even a block.
And how long did you stay on the scene for that?
Several hours, because the medical examiner's office came out. We, searched that area and found the additional bags, and then they collected them. After they documented where they were, photographed them, then they collected them.
And there's a business action glass.
Yes,
How far was action glass from the discovery of the additional evidence on the 3rd?
right across the street.
So within,
50 feet, if that far.
what did you do next?
On that particular day, again, the remains were collected by the medical examiner's office, and they were taken to the medical examiner's office for the examination, and I assisted the homicide guys with whatever. I had gone back and I checked again for my records, and I did not have a missing person fitting any description in that area.
So what did you do next on this case?
Again, just assisted the, do you want me to fast forward?
Sure.
Okay, I was promoted out of homicide, and well, before then, I worked with the medical examiner's office in trying to find out, you know, did we have a white male, black male, male, female? What did we have with the skull? And the people, the individuals at the medical examiner's office determined that the skull belonged to a white male. I didn't agree with that, but they were the experts. And so it was listed on the system as a white male. And what we did was we put the individual, we put the skull for sure, and we had to do them separately because at this point we didn't know they were the same person. I put the individual on GCIC, which is the Georgia Crime Information Network, and then there's the NCIC, which is the national database. And in a perfect world, that is set up so that when we put that information in, if there's a missing person that fits that description, as limited as we have, we would get a hit on it. And it would say, hey, look at this person, this may be who this is. That did not happen.
Okay. May I just have a moment here?
Yes.
What else did you have to do with this case?
Again, I met regularly with Dr. Terry and talked to her about the case.
Who's Dr. Terry?
She's, at the time, she was a medical examiner working out of Fulton County. She's a forensic pathologist that was looking, at the time, we were working together looking at the unidentifieds that she had in her office and the missing persons I had in my office. And we were comparing notes, trying to get our individuals identified.
Okay, but as far as the scene and everything, that completed your work on this case?
Yes, that completed my work.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. McDermott?
Your Honor, I hate to do this, but I've just received, literally just now, about 70 or 80 new photos of this particular crime scene with bags, and I would ask the court to have a brief recess to be able to line some of these new photos up, choose a few, and to talk to her about this.
Okay.
Cross.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to step out for just a moment while we get ready to examine this witness further. It is 3:32, and I'll have you back in here as quickly as I can. Thank you.
All right, for the jury.
Thank you. Please be seated. Anything you need from me while you do that?
Not really, thank you.
Okay. Then we are, say, maybe a 10-minute recess until 3:45?
15 when we go further.
Okay. 3:50 it is. Ma'am, if you will step down, you can just hang out outside, but don't wander far, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We are in recess until 3:50. Okay, Madam Court Reporter, you ready? Yes. Okay. We are back on the record after our brief break for Mr. McDermott to review photographs that were provided by the state apparently recently. Mr. McDermott, if you could tell me, are you ready to proceed with the jury?
Ready to proceed?
State ready?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Okay, we're ready for the jury.
I believe I'm looking into the system. If I'm not, I'll take the lumps.
So,
You want me
All right, so the jury.
Do you know how to share your screen, Ms. McDermott? You know what to do?
to? Yeah, I was going to.
there is a, I believe I saw him in the hallway as I was coming in. Can we get our witness back, please? Come on back up to the stand, ma'am. And as you're returning to the stand, just since we took a break, I'll just remind you that when you began testifying, you were sworn in and that you continue to be under oath. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Mr. McDermott, you may begin your examination.
Ms. Miller, first of all, there's a T.R. Miller in several of the reports. Is that you also?
Yes, that's me.
Okay, thank you. You were called out, were you called out with the group on June 3rd? And that was when the parts were first discovered?
Yes,
Okay. And there was a second group that went out on the 4th. Were you also part of that group?
morning. We're talking about June.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I think that was just one day that we were out there,
That you went out?
that we went out.
Okay. So I just want to be clear, you only remember going out one day?
There was the day where we found the remains, and we may have gone back another time and did a grid search.
Okay. That would have been like weeks later or several days later?
I can't recall. I
That's
can't
fine.
recall.
You mentioned a search that was done in conjunction with the railroad police?
That's correct.
That would have been across the street from Action Glass and the other businesses, right?
That's correct.
And nothing was recovered from that search?
No, it wasn't. The dog, one of the employees from the medical examiner's office was concerned about a black bag that was over there that the dog kind of looked at, urinated on, and kept walking, and turns out there was a dead dog in the bag. So the dog was justified in passing it by.
Was that an active rail line at the time?
I believe it was.
So I want to show you a couple of more of the photos that were taken from the day the remains were found. If I want to show that to her, I want to share my screen now.
If you need her to identify it before you, in order to lay a foundation to have it admitted, you really need to show her in physical form if you are able.
Don't have that.
It is, perhaps you could show it to her on your
On my computer.
screen.
Yeah, I'll do that.
It is possible to only broadcast to one screen, but it's exceedingly difficult. Yes, sir, granted.
I want to show her all four that I have.
Go ahead.
Do you remember, does this ring or look familiar?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We have one computer.
No, I understand.
I have five.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So for the record, I've shown you 5 photographs,
Yes.
and those familiar to you?
Yes.
And are they fair and accurate representations of what you observed the day that you were on the scene
Yes.
on June 3rd?
Yes.
Okay. Permission to publish, Your Honor?
I'm going to let you
All right,
publish
let's-
them, but can you give me a designation for our
These
record?
would be defense 1 through 5,
Okay.
and
And
move those to evidence, please.
defense exhibits 1 through 5, Mr. Wilson, any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, exhibits 1 through 5 from the defense are admitted and you may publish.
Thank you. I hope this works. Whoops. My apologies to the court. Perfect. An update is being installed.
Isn't technology great?
And on top of that, I understand you have a plane to catch.
I do, sir.
Fine. I'll see if I can go about this a different way. This will be a little slower, but I'll go one at a time. Finally, And can you describe what's going on in this picture?
That appears to be the area where the thigh and long leg bone, lower leg bone was.
Okay. And does that appear to be in a, what you described earlier as a kind of a walking path or a cut through?
That's actually, the walking path is further over to like the upper part of the screen. This was a lower area closer to the street.
Okay, so that was close to the street or closer to the street?
Closer to the street.
Okay. All right. And is this the same item
Yes, it is.
from a different perspective? Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right.
For record purposes, was that D1 and D2?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now displaying D3. And can you explain what we're looking at here?
It looks like one of the black trash bags.
And is that in kind of a clearing or a little path? A little
It looks
path?
like it may be off the path.
Okay. Is it visible from the path?
I don't recall. I don't know where the photographer was standing in relation, if he was on the path or she was on the path.
Okay. And what are we looking at here? Defense 4.
Another trash bag.
And can you remember or recall the general location of this as to where you were looking?
No, not without looking at a diagram.
Okay. And final one, Defense 5. What are we looking at here?
Again, that looks like trash bags, and if I'm seeing this correctly, that looks like the thigh and lower leg bone over to where the number 2 is.
Okay. And again, the same difficulty with the location?
No, it's going to be, if that's the leg bone, that's going to be on that further side.
Okay. Further side meaning from Avon Avenue back further behind the business?
If you come in off Hartford,
Okay.
this would be to the right more so than where the foot was that I recovered.
Okay,
This
I
would
see.
be off to the right. It appeared at the time that perhaps an animal had tore open that bag, and it was off to a right, more toward the street.
This one, this bag here?
Correct. Again, if I'm seeing that correctly, and that is the thigh, there was a bag nearby that thigh.
Is it fair to say that this is not stuffed back in the brush?
No, this was, the thigh and the lower leg was pulled out from the brush.
Well, did you see it pulled out?
No, it was found,
Right there?
right, it was found not in a bag anymore.
Okay.
With
But
a
in that
bag nearby.
location?
Yes.
Okay. And as it is in that location, it's not shoved up in the brush or anything?
No, it appeared to have been pulled out of the brush. It was more in a clearing area.
Thank you. You said one of your jobs was to point out items that may have been associated with the skull in the road. This is, of course, going back to April 29th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Did you find any other items?
Just the pieces that appeared to have either come out of the bag or off the skull.
And some of those were far down the road, correct?
They were a little further down, not too far, but further down.
And is that what you were referring to when you said it looked like it had been possibly hit by a vehicle?
That's correct.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Thank you. Very briefly.
That's fine. Thank you.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I've shown you a picture of exhibit number 2. Do you recognize that, what that is?
Yes, I do.
What was that?
That's the area, and it's an overview of the area where the skull and the additional remains were found.
And is that an accurate description of how the streets and how that part of the town looked?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time I'd ask that states number 2 be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 2 is admitted.
I'd go ahead and publish that.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Can you step off of the stand and point to where the skull was?
Okay. Your Honor.
Or actually, first,
Okay.
before you do
Yes.
that, can you just describe what that is for the jury?
It's an overview of that neighborhood. It's a little different now than it did back then, obviously. The skull would have been found in this area, right here, right in here. This was at the time, I don't know if it was a junkyard or a mechanic shop. There was a gentleman that either owned that or worked there that was the one that referred us back here. And this is Hartford Avenue. This is the glass company, and the train tracks were back here on the other side of this grassy area, or not grassy, but with the vegetation.
And when you described that you were searching on the 6th, or in June, what area did you first focus on?
When we went out there with the cadaver dog, it was this area. We went further down and started at the end where the tree started and came down. And once the additional call came up where everybody kind of left because we had not found anything, we were standing at this intersection, the dog handler and the 2 railroad policemen, when the gentleman came out and he told us about coming back here. I believe this may be a more modern picture because there were no houses. The houses were down here at that time.
And that's where you found the remains.
Correct.
You can have a seat. Thank you. I'm showing you what's been marked as State 64. Is that familiar to you?
Yes, it is.
And could you describe it?
They're black trash bags that are in the wooded area.
And I'm also going to show you what's been marked as State 65. Is that familiar to you?
Yes, it is.
And what is it?
It's another black trash bag in the wooded area.
And are those fair and accurate representations of how you found things?
Yes, yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask states 64 and 65 be entered in or admitted into evidence.
Mr. McDermott?
No objection.
64 and 65 are admitted.
Thank you. I'd like permission to publish these.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, as you can see on there, where was this found?
It was in that wooded area.
Was that off the path, or when you answered earlier questions about being on path or off the path? Do you recall where those were found?
This was off the path.
Do you recall what were in those bags?
No, I don't.
But those were relevant?
No, there were remains in the bags that were collected by the medical examiner's office.
But that's how they were found.
Correct.
Show you states 65. Okay. And what is that
That's
picture describe?
another bag that was in that area, and I'm not sure if that's the bag that had the foot in it, because I really can't tell. If I got up and looked closer, maybe. I can't tell, but there were remains in the bag.
Would you like to take a closer look at it?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to
Okay.
tell.
And where was that bag?
Again, in the wooded area.
The same general area?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Any questions on those questions, Mr. McDermott?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
Thank you, Judge.
State may call its next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Tana Patton.
Stand. Before you have a seat, if you'll turn and face the deputy and raise your right hand, he'll swear you in.
Do you swear affirm that testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You go there and I see.
When you do, just be careful of that ledge because your chair's on wheels.
Yeah, I see that.
Get yourself situated, move up to the microphone.
Thank
and if you'll
you.
state and spell your name for my record, please.
Okay, it's Tana Mae Patton, Patton.
Yes. Ms. Patton, good afternoon.
Hey,
All right. Can you tell the court what part of the county, where are you from?
I'm from Henry County.
All right. And are you familiar with the name Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Yes, sir.
All right. How do you know Melissa Wolfenbarger?
She's my sister.
Okay. Do you have any other siblings?
No, just her.
All right. And is that your biological sister?
Yes.
Can you talk about where you and your sister, Melissa Wolfenbarger, grew up?
Well, part of my life, we were in Ellenwood, Forest Park area. And then the other part, most of the time when Melissa was in school, we were in Stockbridge or McDonough, Locust Grove.
Okay. How many years did you live in the same household with Melissa?
Until I was 18 when I left.
Okay. And Are you the same age as Melissa, or you guys different ages?
No, she's younger. There's
Okay.
7 years in between me and Melissa.
All right. And who lived with you and Melissa in your residence growing up?
It was me, Melissa, my dad, well, our dad, and our mom. And for a little while, our granddad on my dad's side, Papa.
Okay. And what is your mother's name?
Norma
And what's her last name?
Patton.
And what is your father's name?
Carl Patton.
Okay. And were your mother and father together throughout
Sir.
your childhood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what type of relationship did you have with your sister growing up?
Well, there were 7 years between us. So we were doing different things at different ages. I mean, there was 7 years between us. So when I was 7 and was out playing and stuff, she was a baby. So we wasn't that close. I mean, we lived in the same house and we played outside and stuff, but we wasn't like 1 year between us that kind of close.
Okay. And do you live with anyone now?
Just my husband.
Okay. Now, you said that you lived in the same household with Melissa until about 18. Is that correct?
I was 18 when I left.
And what did you do? What did you do, and where did you go when you left the residence?
Well, when at 18 when I left, I was in Stockbridge probably for about a year with my dad's Aunt Marie with her daughter, Elaine. I lived with her for a little while. And then after that, I ended up in Las Vegas, actually, Nevada, and
Okay.
had my son out there.
All right. And when do you make your way back to the Georgia area?
When my daughter was, let's see, she was born in 90, so probably about February of 91, we came back to Atlanta. Well,
right.
I came back to Atlanta with both my kids.
All right. So it's February 91. You left at 18. Roughly how many years has passes between those two events?
3 years.
All right. During that period, did you keep in contact with your family members?
Yeah. Melissa came to Tucson, Arizona and lived with me for a little while
Okay. All right.
before I had Kimberly.
All right. That would have been during that 3-year period? Mm-hmm. So from, say, 18, 19 to mid-20s? Mm-hmm. All right. And so when you came back, did you live by yourself or live with someone else?
No, I went back to Mom and Dad's house.
All right.
And Melissa was still at home.
All right. And so you're about, say, mid-20s during that period?
2021.
All right. How long did you stay at the residence with Melissa and your mother and father?
I stayed there pretty much until 90, well, probably late 94, probably when I left again.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about 95 because 95 was when I got married to my first husband, David. And that was in... Sorry.
Okay. So if we're looking at that beginning of 1998 period, can you tell the jury, as best you can, when did that happen?
That was more towards the end of 97.
Okay. Now, is that the only confrontation with Christopher Wolfenbarger that you can tell this jury about?
And that's the only one with Troy.
Okay. Did you end up having another confrontation with Christopher Wolfenbarger?
I did.
All right. Can you tell the jury how that happened?
Melissa had come and stayed with me for probably about a week. It was supposed to have been longer than that. So we would sit up at night talking about stuff, and then all of a sudden she decided she wanted to go home because the kids. So I took her home, and she was getting out of the car, and I was getting out with her, and I was going to hug her to tell her goodbye. And he came out of the house. Chris, and was coming down the steps, and he called me a bad name. He called me a B. And I started going up the steps. He said, if you put your hands on my sister again, I will beat your butt. And she grabbed my arm and said, Tana Mae, shush. You're going to make it worse. She always said I would make it worse.
Okay. Anything happen after that?
No. No.
Okay.
She quit after that.
And around what time period let me turn your attention back to you were talking about a period of time when Melissa and the defendant were, when you came back, they were in a relationship, but it was before they were married. Mm-hmm. And you have to give a verbal answer. So was that it? That was a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. Do you recall when Melissa left the residence?
That I don't.
Okay.
That I don't. I don't know when she actually left from home. I know in 95, when I got married in January, she was still at home, but they were dating at that time.
All right. Now, have you, let me ask you this. When was the first time that you had a concern about the whereabouts of your sister, Melissa?
When my dad walked into the Waffle House in February of 99 and asked me where my sister was.
Okay. Why was that a concern for you?
Because Mom, it was right after Mom's birthday. Mom's birthday is February 24th. If my sister didn't go see my mom, call my mom, or send her a card for my birthday, then something was wrong. Because Melissa always called Mom or got in touch with Mom or something on her birthday. Always. She never forgot Mom's birthday. I did. But she always remembered Mom's birthday.
Okay. And so this is February of 99. After he comes into the restaurant, what do you do after that?
Nothing. I just was like, I was surprised. I remember I called my grandmother and asked her why Dad was looking for Melissa. Because at the time he came in, it was lunchtime, so I was kind of busy. So I couldn't really sit down and talk to him and have a long conversation about what was going on. He just came in and said, "Where's your sister?" And I was like, "I don't know, why?" He said, "Well, I went to go look for her and I can't find her nowhere. Nobody knows where she is." I said, "Well, Dad, she doesn't work."
Just a moment, ma'am. Mr. Bossett.
I can move on with the additional questions.
And just as a reminder, ma'am, we generally, unless we're asking you to not necessarily tell us what other people told you, unless we specifically ask you about that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Bossett.
At any point, do you make any efforts to locate Melissa?
Well, I knew that they were looking, so I myself didn't.
And when you say they, who are you referring to?
Mom and Dad.
All right. And specifically, did you make any attempts to reach out to law enforcement or anything of that nature?
I did, but it wasn't until 2015.
Okay. And how did you go about that process of reaching out to law enforcement in 2015?
Well, the thing is, in 2015, you know, there was a lot of the ID discovery shows. I kind of got addicted to them, and we already knew by then that Melissa had passed. So I kind of got angry, and that's when I really started trying to reach out to them and push.
Okay, so these are shows where crimes are being solved?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, so you started trying to reach out. Who you started trying to reach out to?
City of Atlanta, or anybody that would listen. Nobody wanted to really talk.
All right. And are you aware of any investigator was working on that case at that time?
It was Calhoun at that time.
All right. How did you come to find out about the particular officer involved?
Actually, Calhoun, we had already talked to him before that. It was, I think, 2003, I think it was, when we talked to him.
Okay. And 2003, was there anything else of significance that happened in 2003?
That was when we found out that she was dead.
Okay. Well, anything prior to that?
That was the same time that my dad was arrested.
All right. And what was he arrested for?
Murder.
All right. And so, does your dad's arrest for murder, does that happen before or after you find out that Melissa was the identity of the remains?
Actually, it was the same time
Okay.
that I was notified.
I see. Okay. But you recall that as being the same year?
Yeah.
2003?
Same year, same day.
All right. And from that 2015 period up to, I guess, the point that we are now, did you make any additional attempts to contact law
Oh,
enforcement?
yeah. I
And
tried.
Who did you contact and how many times did you try to do that?
Every time, well, 2015 was when I decided I was going to get the folder, the file on Melissa.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was trying to get the file on Melissa.
Okay.
On the case. I had problems getting it. I filed the Open Records Act probably 3 times. And they kept sending me emails back saying, no, they couldn't find the file. There wasn't a file.
Okay. And how many times did you attempt to do that?
That was 3 times then.
And what age? You said Atlanta Police Department you were attempting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Sorry.
All right. Did you do anything else besides that? Try to get the open records request?
Yes. After the 3rd time, I had come down here the 3rd time in person and filed it. I'd already talked to somebody with Henry County Sheriff's Department that came to the restaurant where I ate at. And he said, well, if there's a file. Okay.
You can't say what someone else said.
Yeah.
He just gave me a suggestion about what to do about the file.
All right.
So I'm going to object to relevance, Your Honor.
I'm going to allow it. Overruled. Go ahead.
Okay. Did you reach out to anyone that wasn't with law enforcement?
Yes.
And
Well, no, she's really with law enforcement.
okay. All right. And did you continue to do that throughout that period of 2015?
Anybody who would listen to the story I told.
Did you conduct any interviews with any reporters or anything related to this story?
Of course.
Okay. And what was the point or purpose of you doing that?
Getting Melissa's story told.
And why were you trying to do that?
Because we wanted answers about her murder. We wanted an arrest.
Okay. Now, did you and Melissa have any conflict as you were growing up?
Of course. I mean, we were sisters.
Okay.
There's always some kind of conflict.
All right.
Nothing life-changing.
And the 2 instances where you were testifying as to the encounter that you had with the defendant at Waffle House and then at the residence, is that the only encounter that you had with this defendant?
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. McDermott?
You've spoken to the press and media a lot of times, haven't you?
Of course.
One of the things you've said is you've described how you and Melissa are kind of polar opposites.
Yes, we were.
She was a quiet, shy, reserved.
Yes.
And you were not quiet, shy.
Right. No, not at all. I'm
You
pretty
describe yourself
outspoken.
a little bit more rebellious
Yes.
when you were younger. Did you
Yes.
describe a period earlier that you had left for a couple years and didn't talk to your mom?
Yes.
And you previously told detectives that you couldn't talk to your mother. You just didn't get along with her.
I didn't get along with her for quite a while.
Okay. You described yourself as a daddy's girl
I was.
and Melissa as a mama's girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, let's just talk about this briefly. You've been in a little bit of trouble yourself too, haven't you?
Yes.
You were most recently convicted for possession of methamphetamines, is that correct? That was in 2021?
Yes.
And did you have a similar charge in 2022 or 2020?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have previous drug charges before that?
No.
Okay. Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that Christopher worked for your dad at one time?
He did.
Would that have been a very, well,
Very short time.
it was a very short time, but it was very early in their relationship,
Yes.
wasn't it? What did you say, like 95 or so?
No, probably before that.
Okay. And what did Christopher do for you?
Well, my dad was a roofer.
Okay.
He had a roofing company, so
He spent a good bit of time up on the roof then, didn't he?
yeah.
And Christopher would have been there with him.
Yeah.
And so Christopher would have spent a good bit of time with your dad at that time,
Probably.
for however long it lasted.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of times Dad would go to other job sites and stuff too.
Now, you just described that you didn't know to be worried about Melissa until your dad came into the Waffle House where you worked.
Yes, sir.
And you said that was in February of '99.
Yes.
And that would have been right after your mother's birthday, is that correct?
Right.
And did your mom and dad come up there together?
No, it was just Dad.
Just your dad? And that's when he asked you about where's your sister? Mm-hmm. And
Yes, sir.
she didn't call it Christmas,
Right.
and she didn't call for your mom's birthday.
Right.
And that's when you said, wait a minute, something's wrong.
Right.
And what did you do after that?
I waited to see if Mom and Dad would find her because that's what they were going to do. They were going to look for her. I was working night shift. It was hard for me to look for her.
And it was hard for you to look for her. And how long was it before you actually did start to look for her?
I couldn't look for her, and by the time 2003 came around and we found out she was dead, it wasn't until later that I started trying to do something.
I see. Do you remember saying to Detective Calhoun that after Carl came up to look for you at your old Waffle House, you went up to Brookline?
No.
If I
That
showed,
was way before that I went to Brookline.
if I showed you a transcript of your interview with Mr. Calhoun, would that refresh your recollection?
Probably.
Yeah, approach her.
Yes.
My apologies for the small print.
Very small,
I think it's
maybe. But I have glasses on, so it's okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So does that refresh your recollection?
Yeah, it does.
So you did go up to Brookline after your dad came.
Yeah, because Dad wasn't exactly sure. He had a different address for him than where they actually were. I think the address he had for him was Washington Avenue, I think. It wasn't Brookline.
Do you remember also telling Detective Calhoun that when all this stuff first happened, I went up to the West End to Brookline and knocked on the door?
Before what happened?
Those were your words. You talked to an aunt or a cousin there?
Aunt or a cousin? No, I never talked to an aunt or a cousin.
If I showed you a transcript, would that refresh your recollection?
Yeah. Where?
You do not. Thank you.
I don't remember that. No, I don't remember that.
That doesn't refresh you?
No, I don't remember that.
You deny saying that?
I don't remember saying that.
You deny?
I know that I don't remember ever knocking on a door and a cousin or something like that answering the door.
You remember that house?
I know I went to Brookline after I saw my dad.
Do you remember the house that Christopher and Melissa lived in was a duplex?
Yeah.
And that their relatives lived in this second?
There was a uncle or something that was deaf that lived on one side of Chris and Melissa.
So do you not deny
blind.
making this statement that you talked to somebody at the house?
I don't remember talking to anybody at the house, but I know I went to Brookline, but I don't remember saying to Calhoun that I talked to somebody.
Okay, I just need you to focus on my question. I know you don't remember now, but I'm asking, do you deny saying it?
Hang on, there's an objection, so just one moment.
The witness has answered the question. He's demanding an acceptance or denial. She simply stated she doesn't recall. So I don't think she's at a position where she's ready to say, I deny it, because she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember.
I'll move
She's
on.
answered the question.
I'll move on.
Mr. McDermott,
I'll move on.
go ahead.
Do you remember Detective Calhoun asking you about your father, and could he have had anything to do with Melissa?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember saying, no, he's mellowed out as he got older?
I don't think that was exactly what I said, but I know I told him that there was no way it had anything to do with my dad and that my dad would not do that. Actually, I took offense to it.
Do you remember also telling Calhoun immediately after that you and your sister and your mother were the most important things in his life?
In whose life? My dad's?
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you remember saying that he would kill anybody for you?
For us, yes.
If anybody was messing with you, they were gone?
Yeah.
That was all it was. And do you remember telling Calhoun it didn't matter who it was?
That's true.
Does that sound like a man who had mellowed out?
Your Honor, objection. The question initially was speculative in nature, or was asking a speculative question. I think he's coming back to what she thinks her father could or couldn't have done, and I'm going to object to the form of the question.
I'm going to sustain the objection to the form of the question, and you can rephrase it, sir.
I'll move on, Your Honor. You have stated that through the period that you knew Melissa at the Waffle House and whatnot, that you worked hard to get Melissa away from Christopher.
Yes, I did.
And you said that you didn't like him,
No.
and that nobody in your family liked him.
No, we didn't.
Do you remember saying that to Detective Calhoun?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember saying on a podcast that Mom and Dad don't even know how much I tried to get Melissa away from Chris behind closed door?
Yes, I do.
And you did all that while you were working at Waffle House. And you persuaded her to come live with you for 2 weeks, right?
Right.
And you said just a while ago on direct testimony that you claimed that she left your house because she wanted to go see her kids.
She wanted to go back home to her kids after a week.
After a week. And that's when you took
Supposed to
her,
have been 2 weeks.
and you took her back up to Brookline.
Yeah.
And are you aware that her kids didn't live with her at Brookline?
They were always there when I went. Anytime I saw her at Brookline, they were there.
You were aware that at that time, she didn't have custody of those children?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Do you remember? Do you remember Detective Calhoun telling you that she didn't have custody of her children at that time?
Hang on, just, yeah, thank you. Mr. McDermott, response?
It's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. It's being offered to her recollection that it was said to her and what her reaction was.
I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead.
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that she wouldn't just up and disappear on her kids like that?
I do remember saying that.
And he told you she didn't have custody of them?
I don't remember that exactly. But I know he said something to me about the kids.
If I showed you a transcript of that discussion, would it refresh your recollection?
Yeah. Where? Okay. But I didn't know that.
And this interview was in 2003, correct?
Yes.
So you've known since 2003 that she didn't have custody of her children, correct?
That's what I was told.
So
And I learned.
your testimony here today still is that you took her back to Brookline so she could see her children?
That's what she told me she wanted to go back to Brookline for, was because of her kids.
Because of her kids. Okay, thank you. You said that Melissa was actually close to Troy, your boyfriend.
No.
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that that was one of the few people she was close to?
No, I don't remember saying that.
If I showed you a transcript of that, would it refresh your recollection?
Yeah. Where? Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Not really.
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that she was also close to your husband David at the time?
I kind of, a little bit remember that. Something about David.
Is that David Burns?
Yeah.
And where is he today?
Hopefully in jail
And why was he sent to jail?
for molesting my daughter.
Do you remember, obviously I've asked you several times if you remember talking to Detective Calhoun in 2003. Mm-hmm. Do you remember in that interview that he asked you when was the last time you saw Melissa?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you remember telling him, similar to the story you told here a while ago, that it was in March on your birthday?
It was March, the same week of my birthday.
The same week of your birthday. And you remembered that clearly because
Because it was my birthday and she brought me a cake.
and she brought you a birthday cookie.
Yep.
And you worked at the Waffle House by the airport, and the WWE wrestlers came in on that night.
Yeah. I remember that.
And you and Melissa were both WWE fans.
Yeah.
And you said, but she just missed them that night.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that that was in March of 1999?
I don't remember saying 99, but I was probably confused about the year because it was 98. 99 was when she was found.
But you agree with me that she was not found until April 29th?
Yep.
But do you remember having that conversation with him that your mother had told you it can't be 99, it had to be 98?
I think that was later on when me and Mom were talking, because at that time I don't think me and Mom were really talking that much.
If I showed you a transcript, would it refresh your memory?
Yeah. I do remember her telling me that one time.
And that was before the interview with Detective Calhoun, obviously.
No, I think that was not before the interview. I think that was later on. I think she said something to me about it.
If this is a transcript of the interview with Calhoun, and you're telling him about your mom talking to you before that interview.
Mom wasn't with me that day. I went to see Calhoun by myself.
And when you're talking to Calhoun, you said, I talked to my mom yesterday. Isn't that what you just read?
Yeah, that's what I just read, but I think that was a different time.
Do you think
Different time that I talked to Calhoun. That wasn't the first time that I talked to Calhoun.
But now I'm confused. You gave multiple interviews to Detective Calhoun?
I talked to Calhoun several times.
And this was in 2003, correct?
Right.
Okay. So, as of this interview, you were telling him that you were certain that it was March of 1999, but that you had talked to your mom the day before and she was trying to get you to change your mind. Is that what you just read?
That's what I read, but I don't remember that.
Okay.
I don't remember that happening then when I saw him the first time.
Do you remember just telling us a while ago that you grew concerned about Melissa when your father came into the Waffle House in East Point in February of 1999?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So you were working there in that time frame?
At a different Waffle House I was. I was at a different Waffle House when Dad came to see me.
You just testified.
I was at Waffle House. But it wasn't the same Waffle House we worked at.
Okay, I'm going to go back and ask you again for the record. Do you remember stating on a podcast, I didn't get concerned until I was at work one morning at Waffle House in East Point, and here comes my dad walking in the door,
Yeah.
talking about where's your sister?
Yeah.
And that was in February of 1999.
Right?
Okay.
What's the question?
Well, I thought you just told me that you were working in a different Waffle House
I
when this
was.
happened.
It was the one in East Point, but that wasn't what you said earlier.
So you were working at the Waffle House in East Point at this time?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Washington Road.
that was my question. And is that where Melissa came to see you?
No.
What Waffle House was that in?
Virginia Avenue.
Okay. And where's the Waffle House in East Point at?
Washington Road.
Washington Road. The one by Spawn Divots.
No, that is Virginia Avenue.
Okay.
It's also East Point. There's two East Point
East Point
application
Waffle House. I see.
location.
When you saw Melissa leave that night, the last time you saw her, was she by herself or with somebody?
She was by herself.
And how did she leave?
She just left in a car.
In a car? Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun she was in a white Ford pickup?
It's possible. They only had two vehicles that I ever saw.
And she was driving the vehicle?
She was driving it.
Do you know who owned that vehicle?
Probably Chris.
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that that car was in her name?
There was another car that I think I said was in her name. But that's what she told me.
If I showed you a transcript of that discussion, would you refresh your memory?
I said, I think.
Did you tell Calhoun at that time that you think it's in Chris's name? Or did you tell him that you think it's in Melissa's name?
Well, it says there that I thought it was in Melissa's. So that's probably what I said, but there was another car that was supposed to have been in Melissa's name.
Now, you just told us about an altercation that allegedly occurred between Troy McClendon
Thank you.
and Mr. Wolfenbarger. And you told it a little different than you did the first time. Or at least as you told Detective Calhoun. And I'd like to walk through some of those details.
Okay.
When you testified a while ago, you said that she came back, they came into Waffle House together, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Melissa and Chris?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Melissa walked to the back with you. And she was in tears.
Yes.
And you noted these handprint marks on her neck.
Right.
And you said to her, did Chris do that to you?
Yeah.
And she didn't say anything.
Right.
And you said you went to go do something and she stopped you?
Yeah.
What were you going to go do?
I was going to confront Chris.
Okay. Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun a different version of that story? You asked her, what's wrong with your neck? And she said, Chris tried to choke me.
Probably. I don't remember exactly. That was a long time ago.
But you're testifying under oath here today that she didn't say anything back.
I'm sure when I was walking away, she was trying to stop me, which she would have said something.
But she didn't say anything back when you asked about the neck.
She cried. She didn't have to say anything.
But you told Calhoun that she did respond to you. Correct?
I guess. I mean,
And you said that as you were starting to come out the back, Troy McClendon was coming through the swinging doors to the back.
yeah.
Yeah. And when you talked to Calhoun, you said you were coming outside and Troy was just coming in the front door.
No. That wasn't what I meant. There's one swinging door between the front and the back. You have to go through
So
that.
you're referring to the front as just the restaurant part.
Right.
Okay. And you remember telling Calhoun that when they came in, Chris sat down at the high top.
No, he sat down in a booth.
If I showed you a transcript, would that refresh your recollection?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Oh, okay. That was when they were coming in the door. When they had come in.
So when they came in, Chris sat down at the high top, correct?
Yes, sir.
And for those without Waffle House lingo, the high top is kind of the bar with the tall stools.
Yes.
I don't need to explain that to an Atlanta jury, I'm sure. But then you said when you came out, you talked to Troy, and then Troy went to confront Chris.
Right.
And then he went over and Chris was in a booth by the window.
Right, because he had moved.
And Melissa was in the seat beside him, correct?
No, Melissa was still in the back. Melissa wasn't out front yet.
If I showed you a transcript, would that refresh your recollection?
Mm-hmm. Other side of the booth. Okay, yeah.
On the outside of the booth, is that correct?
The other, I probably said that outside,
Other side of the
but
booth.
she was on the opposite side of the table from Chris.
How did she transport from the back suddenly to the table?
Because she went out the back door to go out front. She went the opposite way of where I went. I went straight to the front. She went, there's another door behind the office that goes to the restrooms.
Okay.
So she would have went out that door and went out front trying to beat me to the front. But Troy had stopped me.
And he had to reach across Melissa to slap Chris, is that correct?
He reached across the table to slap Chris.
But he had to reach across Melissa.
I don't remember Melissa sitting on that side. I think it was the other side.
Okay. So you've told different versions of this story, different details as time's
It
gone
was
on,
a
haven't
long time ago.
you? Yeah. You've also told us this story that Christopher just one day blurted out at Waffle House, he knows how to kill somebody and get away with it.
He did.
And you said you had no idea where that phrase came from.
No.
But didn't you just tell us that Christopher used to work and spend the day on the roofs with your father?
And
And your father was convicted of murders he committed back in 1970s?
so my
And he used-
dad never said anything like that.
How do you know? Were you on the roof with Chris?
My dad would never say anything like that.
I'm asking you, were you on the roof with Chris?
No, I wasn't.
I'm objecting. I believe this is argumentative, Mr. Witness.
Overruled. Move on, please.
So, just one more time. You were never on the roof with Chris.
No,
You weren't there when he spent time with your father.
no.
And you don't know what your father might have boasted about.
My dad never boasted about what he did.
Not around you, correct?
They never talked about what he did.
You can only talk about what you know, correct?
I know my dad never talked about what they did.
All right. Excuse me, no further questions.
Thank you. Anything else for this witness, Mr. Fossett? Redirect.
Ms. Patton, when you confronted Chris at the residence, you were testifying previously to dropping Melissa off at the residence. What residence was that?
Brookline.
Okay. And that was still during that 1998 period? Mm-hmm. All right. And that,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Sorry.
you. That's okay.
all right. And if we're talking about the year she was found, the year her skull
sir.
and remains were found, you recall that as being 1999?
Yes, it was.
All right.
99.
Now, if you could, to the best of your recollection, think back to that period of time when you were working with your sister, and I get the Waffle Houses confused myself, and that's the Virginia Avenue Waffle House. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. What year was that?
It was 97 when she worked with me.
All right. And was that the beginning of 97?
It was the end of 97.
Do you recall if it was December, November, October?
Well, it was the end of December. It was the end of the year, but it was March when she came to see me of 98, and she had already left that Waffle House.
All right. And your testimony was that she left right after she got the 6-month vacation check?
Right.
So if she started at the end of 97, would 6 months have taken us to the end of 98?
No, I think it was, how can I explain it? If she started in like September, then would have been September, October, November, December. There would have been 4 months right there. By the time my birthday got there in March, she had already left that Waffle House because she was at the one on, what was it? Doryville. She
So-
told me she was at Doryville.
So she would have left, I guess started early enough in 97 to hit 6 months
Right.
before your birthday in March.
Right.
Okay. Now, you were just testifying as to the events that occurred at Waffle House.
Right.
You just testified about the booth, about the high chair. Have you seen, like you were showed the transcript before the defense attorney showed you a copy of your statement,
Right.
the multiple statements?
Right.
Had you seen those transcripts prior to today's date?
No.
You hadn't studied those transcripts?
No.
And we're talking about events that occurred in 1998?
Right.
And are you still testifying to the best of your recollection?
Yes.
All right, that's all I have, Judge.
Mr. McDermott?
No further questions.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. The witness excused. May the witness be excused?
No objection.
No objection.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am. Counsel, can you all approach for a minute? .15, and so we're going to adjourn for the day. I have a couple of pieces of instruction for you and requests. Let me start by telling you that I need you to be back here tomorrow morning at 9:30. And you'll just follow the same procedure that you followed previously. Now you probably have a little bit more insight about going to the callbacks, and we'll let you into the jury room. So that's 9:30 tomorrow morning. A couple of things that are important. One is we can't proceed unless all of you are here together. So that means whether it's I'm releasing you for the evening or if I'm releasing you to lunch or a break, if you'll try really hard to come back at the designated time, especially if arriving in the morning, because we can't start until everybody's all here together. If you are running late, if something happens, if you missed the shuttle the first go round, that sort of thing, just let us know. Contact my office, send us a quick text or an email, and that way we'll know that you're on your way and that we can accommodate that. Last few things I want to let you know, especially now that you have heard some evidence in the case. I want to remind you that your obligation in this case is to make this decision only based on the evidence that you hear in this courtroom. And so that means that it would not be proper for you to drive by any locations, to go do any of your own research, to look anything up, to do anything like that. It also would not be proper for you to discuss this case with anyone or to allow anyone to discuss it with you or around you, and that includes amongst yourselves until I tell you to actually deliberate the case. Now, lastly, I don't know if there will be media about this case, but I know some of you, maybe more than others, have said you watch local news and that sort of thing. I'm going to ask you to please avoid media. Don't go look anything up about this on social media, and please avoid local media or national media if you can, just in case there is something about this case. Now, should you happen to accidentally encounter something, first of all, stop immediately. And then second of all, let me know that that happened. And probably it will be nothing, but we need to know about anything that you might have seen so that we can decide if any action needs to be taken. Finally, I appreciate your patience and attention to this process, and I will send you home for the evening and see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
All rise for the jury.
And the jury room will be locked, so you can leave your notes and things like that in the jury room when you go home for the evening. Thank you all. You may be seated. Anything from the parties that you need me to take up before we adjourn for the day?
Two very short things.
Yes, sir.
One, we were given a rap sheet on a witness who may be the first witness tomorrow.
It would not be the first one.
At some point tomorrow. This is the first I've ever gotten a rap sheet on her. Our entire knowledge of this witness is one sentence in a report that's, 183 pages long. So I don't know much about her. I have actually two requests. One, is there any additional information through interviews or whatever? Or is that one sentence all we're going to hear from her?
Regarding who is this person? I think that would be helpful.
It's a former neighbor who's going to say she heard them fighting. The opening statement seemed to have gone a lot further than that, which means there's some other interviews or statements going on.
Ms. Hilton?
Yes, and I can put
Can
on
you
the
tell me
record-
the name of that witness so
Yes,
our
we
record's
can.
clear?
In the discovery, I believe she's named Dorothy Jones.
Okay.
However, her name is actually Dorothy Cooley.
Cooley?
Cooley, Cooley.
Okay.
She resided on Brookline. She was a neighbor of Mr. Wolfenbarger. It appeared, and I'll apologize, I thought most of this information was in the discovery, so I'm going to apologize for not giving you all of this. So we found her yesterday, Your Honor, interestingly enough, at her job. I did take a moment to speak with her. What we believe her testimony will be is that she lived on Brookline, was a next door neighbor, knew Mr. Wolfenbarger for about 10 years. She would say, and this is not going to come out, but in full disclosure, that they would sit on the porch every day and smoke marijuana. But he was younger than her. She was a little bit older. She was familiar with his Uncle Rick, who also lived at that home as well. That over the course of some time, eventually she started seeing a woman come by the house. She may have saw a baby with this woman once or twice. That she would hear yelling coming from their home, that one time she may have heard like things breaking multiple times, and that she did see on one occasion a black eye. She was the woman was wearing glasses and had a black eye. So that's what she would testify to. I don't think she knew her name. She can describe her. She's familiar with what she looks like. I did show her a picture of Ms. Wolfenbarger to see if this is the same person that we're all talking about. She said she recognized her as the woman that she has seen with Chris. I think she has to work tomorrow, so she'll be here by sometime after 10, so I can make her available so that you can talk to her. But that is the synopsis of, I believe, the information she would provide.
The second thing is, because I was just given a rap sheet, I can't give them notice, pretrial notice, that some of these convictions are old, but she's got a lot. I'm trying to make my way through the cycles, but there are some felonies that are more than 10 years old, so I'm giving them notice now. I do plan to use those to cross-examine her.
Ms. Hilton?
You're right, I think that's fine, that she's given notice. Thank you.
Thank you. It seems like we're going to accept that as notice for now. Mr. Samuel, anything
I
else?
think I just remember the 1 o'clock thing tomorrow, or the 1:30 hearing tomorrow.
Yes, the 1:30 hearing.
And I'm not trying to take priority. If I can if maybe we could do lunch sometime around then.
Yeah, I don't know how long, Judge Emerson is usually pretty efficient.
He's going to be very efficient.
But my intention was to target breaking for lunch around 1:15, so that way the jury would be, occupied. You could go downstairs and do whatever you need to do and then be back. And then thank you for reminding me of that, because that might assist the state in having their witnesses ready to go as we proceed through.
I very much appreciate that.
Okay. Anything from the state?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Okay. The only thing I will ask, and this is just a preference, different judges are different ways, but if you can stand up and say objection, hearsay, objection, argumentative, objection, calls for conclusion, objection, he's badgering the witness, let's keep it to a minimum, right? If we need to have a more fulsome discussion, then I'll probably invite you up here. I'm not going to say you can't make your record that you've made the objection and what the general grounds are. And if the answer is going to be a withdrawn or something, we can do all that. But let's keep our speaking objections. I don't think anybody's trying to get away with anything so far in terms of objections and responses, but let's keep our speaking objections